How you doing, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Brick by Brick. I'm your host, LSP. Currently up £5 on the day. At one point, I was down 108. Diamonds, spies, both weak today. Nasdaq is the stronger of the three, but we've had some significant selling, and now we're getting a little bit messy down here. But I managed to claw back the loss. Currently up £5, which gives us a fourth positive day for this week. Currently sitting on around 145, £145, which is always nice to put some green in the account. It's unlikely I'll take a trade, but I wanted to put an episode out. Just drop down to the 2-minute and see if there is anything of interest. But you can see where we are here, this point of control, very messy. Very, very messy. And to be honest, I think the Nasdaq today was moving in sympathy with the spies and diamonds, to be honest. There is a possibility, something that I am looking at, that we revisit 25.1. So depending on what happens around this area, we could be looking at a trade, but it's currently coming up to coming up to noon Eastern. So don't really want to be getting involved in the markets at this sort of time. But there is some decent volume coming in terms of the buy side. But I'm confident. You see, here's my issue. I'm confident that this is enough of a move to warrant potentially looking for something here if it holds. So I want to see this move hold. But there's also I don't want to say a high chance, but there's also a possibility that we do come back and revisit today's low. So perhaps I'd like to see maybe the 80s and then form some sort of structure here for the afternoon session. But to just buy now wouldn't make any sense. So I'm going to be avoiding that. And if you want to see realistic, honest, open, and simple trading that's relatable, give me a follow. I'm going to be putting out a lot more content in the coming weeks and months, all with the intent and interest of helping other traders to navigate both the online space and the trading space, because it can be quite a colorful space, that's for sure. So let's leave it there. Short session today in terms of the actual video. I'll come back this afternoon. Hopefully there is enough structure for what I just explained to potentially take a trade. If it just goes from here, that's fine. It's not a problem. Pick something up tomorrow. It is a little bit challenging due to the government shutdown. We've got no news releases. Everything's kind of flat. It's all on a whim, really. Things are being released, meaning somebody has to speak. So we have to have a speaker, or Trump has to say something, or the Fed has to say something to really get these markets moving. There isn't any actual, okay, so at 1:30 we're going to have these numbers. At 3 o'clock we're going to have these numbers. At 7 o'clock, so speaking. So again, it's nice. These numbers releases and economic releases are good for the markets in terms of volatility, in terms of volume, participation, because otherwise you end up in situations where you just grind and grind and grind, messy grind, and then grind and grind. And what we really need is an injection, during those volatile times, and then a little bit of momentum and follow through. And unfortunately, at the moment, what's happening is not really getting any follow through. You can look at it now and say, well, it did follow through because it went all the way down here, but that's not the type of follow through I'm talking about. I'm talking about when we get a nice breakout like this and then a retest and then it starts to go, it really goes and it just goes. This last portion just here was a really nice move. But when you break it down, I sat through some of this and it was just boring, and it wasn't fast and it's not moving with momentum. It's not moving with conviction. So we have to be mindful of these little things. Doesn't mean that you can't trade. It just means that you have to be a little bit careful. So volume not that great. I can see it on the other screen. It's just pretty much flat. We see a negative delta, positive delta, positive delta, negative delta, and it's all kind of even really. So again, not really much. But of the three, like I said, the SPYs, the diamonds, and the NASDAQ is definitely the strongest today. It has been holding or trying to hold, these levels. Of the three, the Dow is the weakest, and the SPY, just kind of following suit. I think the NASDAQ was just moving in sympathy today. So I'll leave it there, guys. I hope everyone's having an absolutely fantastic day or evening, wherever you are in the world. And I look forward to speaking to you very soon. Ciao for now.